Point 3, administer fitness tests. I started off by gathering a client consultation and gathering a profile. I found out he plays point guard in the National League of Basketball. He considers ball handling, speed and agility his strengths and power and flexibility his weaknesses. I then found tests I would use to measure his components of fitness. For aerobic capacity, I decided to use the yo-yo test. For power, I used the standing vertical jump. For speed, I used the 30-meter sprint. Agility, I used the Illinois agility test. Muscular strength, I used the hand grip dynamometer. And for flexibility, I used the sit and reach test. On screen, you'll see the protocol of how each test is performed and the requirements being space and equipment needed to perform these tests. I then had my client read through a health screen, a performance active readiness questionnaire, and sign an informed consent form to make sure he knew what he was doing. There are certain reasons why you may defer or terminate testing. Reason to defer testing can be unsafe blood pressure readings, irregular heartbeat, injury, personal reasons, or illness. Deferring a test means to stop the test while it's going on. All of these will be due to the client's health and safety. Reasons to terminate the test can be pain or cramp, equipment failure, the participant's request, or extreme exhaustion. These are all things that are happening during the testing. Terminate testing is something that happens during the testing. Next, I recorded a risk assessment of all the hazards that could occur. The hazards were muscle injury, extreme exhaustion, falling over, or misuse of equipment. The people at risk for muscle injury and extreme exhaustion were the participants, and falling over and misuse of equipment, everyone was at risk. The controls to be in place are they are allowed to pull out at any point for injury, allowed to pull out at any point. Also, if the instructor deems necessary to pull out, can stop the test for extreme exhaustion. Wear suitable footwear and avoid sudden movements if possible for falling over. And show participants how to use all the equipment for misuse of equipment. The highest risk rating is a 4, but that's for falling over, so it isn't too dangerous. And the actions necessary are quite self-explanatory. Here I've justified the tests that I'm going to use. For the sit and reach test, we did not have goniometers, and this is the most common way to measure flexibility. For the yo-yo test, it's not the gold standard but easily accessible, and it's valid at testing the VO2 max, so it will be a suitable replacement. The Illinois agility test, as basketball requires a lot of sharp turns and movements, and it's the most common test for agility. Which means there'll be a lot of data to compare it up against. I chose the vertical jump test because basketball requires a high jumping standard in-game, and it's game-specific as you jump vertically to defend shots and relates to his position. I chose the 30-meter sprint, which, however, is not the most valid as timing will not be accurate, but the gold standard is not available. And also, speed is a key aspect to basketball, and it's constant up and down the court game. And finally, I chose the hand grip dynamometer, because you need strong wrists, grip and forearms to keep the ball. We didn't do a 1 rep max as the participant had an injured shoulder. Here is the data collection sheet with all the results I got from the fitness testing. And here is me administering the test. Evaluating my participant's yo-yo test score, it shows that he has an average score when performing this and has a VO2 max of 48.2 milliliters per kilogram per minute, which is shown on the blue table to be excellent for his age of 17. However, the yo-yo test results can be improved upon, and in basketball there aren't many breaks in play, meaning he'll be running until the quarter is over most games. And each quarter is 12 minutes long, making the games last 48 minutes, not including overtime, which he would be running constantly as well. To benefit him, I recommend going on a mid to high intensity level run or cycle for 45 minutes 3 times a week. This will increase his muscular endurance and continuous exercise. improved muscular endurance. Also, by doing any exercise, it will help improve cardiovascular endurance by lowering the resting heart rate and the respiratory muscles by allowing them to take in air easier and more of it. So it will help improve the effectiveness of his heart and the capacity of his lungs. All this will allow the participant to work harder during his performance. Evaluating my client's 30-meter sprint scores shows me that he is within the good category for speed among people his gender. That is alright for a general person, but as my client is playing national level basketball, they may want to improve this for their games. Ways of improving this I have suggested in the recommendations are by performing plyometric training twice a week. I have given the routine of two-legged box jumps, two-legged hurdle jumps, and ski jumps, 30 sets of 4, and fartlek training to improve speed. Perform 2 sets of jogging for 1 minute, sprinting for 30 seconds, and jogging for a minute, repeated for 10 minutes. By doing plyometric and fartlek training, it will improve his speed, which is a key element to basketball as it's a very end-to-end high-intensity game. Looking into my client's flexibility results, as you can see, they came in as poor for his age group, only managing to bend at the hips and reach a maximum of 21 centimeters, and the threshold for below average is 27. This is bad, as flexibility is necessary to allow for easier movements of the joints. However, the sit and reach test only measures hip flexibility and nothing else. We did not use goniometers as we did not have a proper one on offer. My recommendations for increasing flexibility for my client is by performing stretches every morning when they get out of bed, and by attending a bi-weekly yoga class to help increase his flexibility all round, not just at the hips. This is needed as his flexibility levels are poor. However, hip flexibility is not necessarily the most important component of fitness to have during a basketball game, so it might not be at the top of his priority list. The hand grip dynamometer measures the strength of your hand and forearm. This is important to basketball, as stealing or grappling the ball requires grip and strength as to hold on to the ball. As you can see from my client's hand grip dynamometer results, he has scored poorly, which should be improved upon if he wants to get further in sport. By performing 4 sets of 15 with dumbbell wrist flexion, dumbbell reverse curl, and a pull-up bar hang for as long as possible to finish with, once a week, will allow for an increase in strength in the forearms and allow for a better grip and handling in the ball. This will also allow him to fend off and screen players, as with the opposition pressing against his hands, he'll be able to get around him. It'll be easier to fend off them with stronger arms. Agility is a big part of basketball, and a lot of attacking play involves running between players and performing quick changes in direction to catch defenders out. With agility being so important to basketball and my client's role being an attacking one, it is vital he has a good score on this test. However, his score is average compared to other males, and this will need to improve if he is to become a more well-rounded player. My client scored 16.8 seconds and needs a score of 16.1 to be considered good and below 15.2 to be considered excellent. To help him achieve this, I have come up with a routine to be completed at least twice a week to help improve his agility. And it consists of 3 sets with a floor ladder, quick feet to the end and back 7 times, weaving in and out of cones and jogging back 7 times, and having cones set out in a square and one in the middle, and run back and forwards side to side, touching each cone 7 times. Finally is the standing vertical jump test, which needs leg power to provide a good score on. This is one of the more important aspects of the fitness testing, as jumping is one of the key fundamental elements to basketball. My client recorded a highest jump score of 57 centimeters, which is above average for male at his age. And this is good, but can be improved upon, as my client is only 6 foot tall, and in the world of basketball, this is not very tall. So jumping higher to make up the difference would be crucial. To help him improve his jumping ability, I have selected a range of plyometric training exercises to improve leg power, to allow him to jump higher. These are to be completed 3 times a week, as I feel this is where he needs to improve the most, as being able to jump higher will give him an advantage in many different things in the game, such as blocking shots or passes and shooting over players. The exercises I have prescribed are: performing 4 sets of 20 box jumps at 30 centimeters, 20 weighted box jumps at 20 centimeters, 50 box steps, and 20 squats with weights.